who are worn out, and they don't see hope. In many ways, they have no hope. It is my pleasure to introduce a group today that's the first part of their group name, Hope. Hope Redemption Center. As I have had communication with these individuals, I've come to know more closely who they are. And they have a passion. They have a passion to help those with no hope. And I praise God for that. So please welcome Elle from Hope Redemption Center. She comes to share what God has on her heart. Elle?
Good morning.
Good morning.
As you saw in that short clip, there are a lot of people hopeless. First thing I want to do, though, is I want to introduce my partner in crime, Mrs. Kate Shode. And we came together by God's plan, no doubt about it. And I can't read it from here. This is a list of our board of directors. And I was given a vision 10 years before Kate and I started working together that I would be running a treatment center for women. Someplace, sometime. And God put Kate and I in a business situation together. And we began talking, and we started dreaming, and then we started listening. And God has shown us that it's not just this time and this place, but it's His work that He wants us to be doing. We've done a few things. We've established a checking account, we have a board of directors, and we bought shirts. That makes us a business, right? We're ready to go. You can go sit with your husband if you want to. I know you don't like being here. She does not like to talk in front of people. But I'll tell you, she's the heart and soul. She does a lot of the work. Our logo she came up with one night. She came into work and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" God gave it to her. And God gave her part of the name. And God has so blessed both of us to be able to do this. Myself, I have been working in treatment for 20 years. And Kate's been working 9 years in treatment. So we've got a skill set. And now He wants us to use it. What our concept is, we will treat women ages 18 and above. And you're going to see some stats come up here. And you can read all of that stuff. And help them find hope, find Christ, which is the hope. Because do you watch the news? Anybody here watch the news on a daily basis or weekly basis? Have you noticed that it seems like they're talking about they're arresting this one, they're arresting that one, they found this one dead, they found that one dead? You know, drug overdoses, suicide because of drugs. You know, it's horrific what is happening to our society. But women have even a more difficult time. Because women are expected to be caregivers. And you were talking about, the kids dropped off because of things that was going on in their house. That happens on a daily basis. Our foster care system is so overwhelmed right now with children that have been removed because of their parents' addiction. And if a dad's an addict, that's really sad and that's really bad. But his impact on the family is not nearly as much as the caregiver mom. I know that sounds kind of sexist, but it's true. Every kid looks to their mom first. And as a mom, I know that. Still happens. And if she's not able, because she has a disease, to care for them, then they're trying to care for themselves. They're trying to raise themselves. And the state ends up raising them. Women, by the time they get to the point of needing recovery, find themselves without income, maybe because their husband is taken off, maybe because he's abusive, maybe because they never had one. They lose their children, they lose their health, and they're just down and hopeless. And having worked with women and men, I find that women feel more judged by society. Because as a woman, we're supposed to hold it together, right? We're supposed to tie it all together in a little nice, neat little bundle and keep everything going, keep the home fires burning. And it's not a choice that they're making. That first drug may have been a choice. That first drink may have been a choice, but they're no longer making a choice. They are trapped in a prison of disease as much as if they had cancer, heart disease, diabetes. And they don't know how to get out. And when you feel hopeless, the last place you're going to go is to the church because you've already decided God hates you. Because if God didn't hate you, you wouldn't be putting that needle in your arm or that pipe in your mouth or that drink in your throat or whatever. Many of these women end up prostituting themselves for their drugs. They end up sometimes selling their children for their drugs. Not because they want to. And I know this personally. I'm 21 years clean and sober. And I remember being in that dark, dark place. Imagine going in a closet, shutting the light off, and then screaming into a pillow and hoping that somebody hears you. It's kind of what they're dealing with. And where's she at on this? Our hope, as that first word says, is to be able to provide treatment in a safe environment for every woman who wants it. Doesn't matter whether she has any money, insurance, chance of money in the future. We plan on relying on God to provide that place for them and the treatment for them, to help them find out that they are worthy of God's love. I mean, He loves us all. He loves the world. That's why He sent His Son. He doesn't necessarily approve of what we're doing. but he loves us nonetheless. And he loves them just as much as he loves you and I. Now we have, I'm writing a program, but we have been looking at a couple of buildings to start a center in, but we need something very important. I'm going to say the dirty word, okay? We need money. And it's going to take us lots of it, I'm sure. But God has been providing. We had a board meeting yesterday, and Kate said, we haven't heard one word. No. We've not heard that anywhere. God is putting upon people's hearts how important this is. And I know it's really difficult when you're going down the street, and I don't know if this happens in Middletown, but since I was the town drunk in my small town that I grew up in, I'm sure there's one around here, and everybody knows who it is. And just imagine walking down the street feeling that nobody cares, and maybe nobody knows. And I'm alone. Totally alone. I'm sure everybody's felt that at some point in time. And it's not necessary. I know that if people walked in here right now and they said, oh, Daddy, you guys would hug them and love them and welcome them in. But they don't think you mean it because they're hurting so bad. As you saw in that video, it takes more than one to recover. The treatment center will be a therapeutic community, which means they will be doing a lot of work around the place. They will be doing their own cooking. They will be learning job skills. They will be taking care of their own laundry. We're not going to do it for them. Taking care of their own room. They will be helping each other to recover from this disease. And understanding that this disease is hallmarked by relapse, we will accept people back that have had time, clean and sober, and that relapse. Because sometimes it takes people a few times to get beyond a spot in their life where they can really accept Christ and His love. And they can accept that they're going to heal. He is healing them. Just takes time. Just like it takes time with chemotherapy, putting poison in their bodies, radiation, for people to get into remission from cancer. And it's really hard to hear people say, well, they made that choice. No. The first choice maybe. We have drugs out there, ladies and gentlemen, that first time they're hooked. Crack cocaine is one of those. Heroin is another one of those. And it's really cheap right now. In fact, you have several generations using together. The kids, mom, dad, and the grandparents, because they can't get their pain pills or whatever, and it's cheaper than their pain pills if they don't have insurance. So if we can just assist a few people, we're making society better. Our dream is one day to have a women's unit, a men's unit in different towns, and an adolescent unit. By then I'll be too old to work with the adolescents, I hope. They have one small problem. We worked with adolescents, no impulse control, absolutely none. So it makes them a little more difficult to work with sometimes. But God has given this to us. Relapse prevention skills. How do you prevent relapse? Well, it's real easy. You don't use. No, that's not true. Because it starts here. And maybe you know people that have gotten clean and sober, and then you find out the next month that they fell off the wagon. Not because necessarily they wanted to, they got to thinking about something. They got healthy enough, they decided that they were well, that this really wasn't a disease, and they could try it again. And AA says, you know, one is too many and a million's not enough. And that's very, very true. There may be people in your community that you would never suspect are using drugs, ever. And then one day it's like, what? Them? No. But it doesn't, the disease does not care who you are, what you do for a living, how smart you are, how tall you are, how short you are, how fat you are, how skinny you are, what age you are. It really doesn't care. Because it is getting its power. And this is the disease of addiction. I believe it's a living, breathing entity. We can't necessarily see it, but it's alive and well. Talking to people today, as I'm standing here talking to you, saying, you're unworthy. You're a freak. Nobody loves you, nobody cares. We want to change that. We want your help to change that. Pastor Dan is one of the most passionate people I have met in this quest. Because he knows hurting people need God, but hurting people can't necessarily find God because they think he's left them. They think that he doesn't love them. We can move right along. I think Pastor Dan would like to see our center in Middletown. He's shaking his head. And that's always an option. We need two things. We need a building and we need money. Not necessarily in that order. We need a lot of prayer. Because it's going to take a lot of prayer. Prayer is the only reason I'm standing here today. I've been sick for a week. And God honored this today so that I could stand up here and talk to you about his mission. It's not our ministry so much as it's his mission. We are talking about criminal involvement. We are looking at helping women that are coming out of prison, women that are not going to prison because they've changed the law. Did you know that? You don't go to prison for using drugs anymore necessarily. You go to community treatment. Guess what? There is none. They haven't even started the community treatment yet, but they changed the law. One of our senators said the first thing we need is treatment. We need beds. We don't want to take anything away from anybody. We want to add to. There are two places in the state of Indiana that women can get treatment. They got to have money or they got to have insurance. That's what we want to do different. Someone's broken the law, that's fine. Let's teach them how not to break the law. Let's teach them they have hope and they don't need to break the law. Okay. And we have a fundraiser coming up. April the 9th. We have flyers that, we'll give you. We'll give you as many as we got to pass out around town. It's Christian Music Festival in Middletown at the Nazarene Church. They have the largest venue in 3 counties. So, I figured, why not? And we're going to have 4 groups, actually 2 bands and 2 individual people. They're going to be performing. I think you'll be amazed. Because I've heard them all perform and they're fabulous. And they have a message. We'll have people giving their testimonies. We'll also have, this is something people like, silent auction and door prizes. Be door prizes throughout the day and silent auctions going on, and food on premises. It'll be from noon to 4 on that day. So you can put that on your calendars, and we hope to see you there. And we hope that you'll support us and partner with us in this endeavor. And could you join me in prayer? Father, come to you, asking you to just touch each one of us and give us your compassion, that we may continue to see people with your eyes, to love people with your heart. Make us the hands and feet, and help us to go into the community and give people what they need. In Christ's holy name, amen.